Today I'm with Angelo Mazzone. He owns restaurants, he's in the hospitality, and he's going to talk about branding. He definitely has a unique perspective on branding because it's much more than just one brand. I don't think a lot of people realize the scale of what all you do. And I mean, it's amazing. I've seen you at chamber functions very early in the morning. I've seen you at one of your restaurants very late at night. I mean, I don't know how you keep up with it, but let's talk about this scale. I mean, how many restaurants, how many inns? I mean,
right now we have 2 inns, which are probably the smallest percentage of our business. And then we have restaurants that are not only branded with the Mazzone Hospitality brand, but they're also branded with the name of the restaurant, which is really important because when people are shopping, they're not really looking for Mazzone Hospitality. And if they are, it'll go to Mazzone Hospitality, but then you can get right to the restaurant site. So most people are looking for 677 or Aperitivo or some of those restaurants, Saratoga National. So people will go right to the name. But even on their websites, Mazzone Hospitality has a little logo on the bottom of it. So we try to continually sell the brand. So I started with, we have inns, and we have restaurants, and we have catering facilities that we do events in, and then we have off-premise catering that we just moved into this new building that you asked me about. The brand, you know, we serve very, very high-end food in catering and in some of our restaurants, and then we have, you know, family kind of restaurants. And then we have, you know, the catering, which is mostly high-end. And then we did this business dining, which we go out and, you know, we do, I hate to call them cafeterias because they're not cafeterias anymore.
Right.
Cafes in big buildings. At all of those, I kind of say to them, listen, just because you're in our business dining account, we don't think you're any less. I mean, if somebody comes in here and has a grilled cheese sandwich for $2.50, and it's the worst grilled cheese sandwich they had, and their service was bad, they're not going to have an $80,000 wedding,
right? Because
of the brand. So we got to protect the brand no matter what we do.
How many businesses do you have, though? I mean, because I know Prime, the restaurant, Aperitivo, that restaurant, Glenn Sanders.
Yeah.
I mean,
Paula Springs, Saratoga National, Hilton Garden Inn in Clifton Park. Tala Bistro in Latham, and then we're in 23 different locations.
Oh wow!
You know, we have Golub Corporation, Global Foundries has 2 locations, Regeneron has 3 locations, Schenectady International, New York State Teachers Association, ACO, Excelsior College. We just got Hudson Valley, and we were going into food service and college food service, and Beech Nut in Canajoharie, and about a year ago, we were awarded the contract for the new convention center in Albany. So we're their exclusive caterer there. So there's a lot of locations and a lot of people. You know, we have over 1,000 employees, and try to preach the brand to them is very, very important, only because they have to understand our brand if they're selling us.
What does brand mean to you exactly? I mean, because a lot of times a business owner thinks it's a logo and a slogan, and I have talked about this in numerous videos, but I thought it was great to talk to you about it, because you've got so many different brands.
See, is it a logo? Is it you know, I don't know if it's a logo. It's the culture of protecting what we do. You know, so I think our brand is really our people taking care of other people. You know, when we shoot a commercial or we're shooting a brand, it's really someone helping somebody, or a chef talking to her guest, or a banquet manager escorting a flower girl, showing her where to go. So it's all about people, you know. So our brand isn't just a logo or something on a piece of paper or something you might wear as a lapel pin. It's taking care of people. It's total hospitality, going the extra mile. You know, people say, well, are you caterers? Yeah, we're caterers, but we're also, when we're at a wedding, we sew dresses. If it's raining, we bring umbrellas. If it's Cold, we bring jackets. I mean, we do everything that we need to do to make sure that we're
Is that
taking care
part
of
of the
our guests.
process that your team is trained, that these are the things we do to
Absolutely.
over-deliver?
Yep. Every captain and every manager, when they leave a building for off-premise catering, they have like a care package of 20 things that, what if this happens? What if that happens?
Who's come up with, I mean, did you come up with that over
Well,
the
as a
years?
company, we came up with all the different pieces for that, but there's, there's processes in catering, and there's different process in the restaurants as there is in business dining, as there is in, senior living. So the process is all the processes stem back to people and hospitality, taking care of people.
Right. So if you were to look back over the years, I mean, where you've done numerous restaurants and inns and that type of thing, can you think of one in particular that was the most exciting to you, that really got you, I mean, I'm sure they're all exciting. But
They're all
what's one?
very exciting, but Glenn Sanders was our first big splash, okay? And so I guess that was really, really exciting, because we went from a diner with 10 employees to Glenn Sanders with 150 employees. And I think our brand started at Glenn Sanders because we started out is that we were a very high-end catering facility and restaurant. And trying to protect the brand there, it was very exciting, but it was also difficult because, someone would come in and have a wedding, say, for $100 a person, and then they would come back and someone else would have a wedding for $60. So we have to make sure that the customer for $60 feels the same experience as the customer for $100. Because when someone comes in, they have a high expectation, and you got to meet their expectations. So one of our mottos is always exceed expectations, because that's what we do. So we kind of went through all of the Glenn Sanders and Hall of Springs, and we did a lot of catering, and from the Hall of Springs until we really did a big splash with our brand, I think was at 677. It was another one of those, no one's going to buy steak at $50 a person in Albany. It's the same way they said no one's going to go to Scotia for a wedding or an event. And I had the feeling that we would definitely, if we give people great food and great service, they'll come back. It's a price value relationship. And if they feel like they have value, they'll come back. So when we opened 677, I think that was our next big splash.
So you started out, let's talk about how you started out. 'Cause, I mean, you started out, you had 10 employees, is what you said, with a diner?
Well, I started out at Union College. I graduated from, I got my BS in Hotel and Restaurant Management at University of New Haven and got a job at Union College. I was 22 years old, and they were with a national food service company, and they wanted to open a bar and a pub for their students, and they didn't want them to do it, so they went outside and looked for someone to do it. So they kind of said, here, open this place up. And I mean, it was bare walls, and I kind of said, oh, well, I'm 22, I can figure anything out because I know everything, right?
Yeah.
Which I knew nothing, but I was there and got a very good training and built everything myself. And I made mistakes with their money, but we were always profitable. And then 5 years later, I went and bought my first restaurant in downtown Schenectady. And that opened in 1980, and we opened with 4 employees or 5 employees. And then we just kept building the brand. And I think not only were we building the brand, we didn't even know we were building the brand.
Right.
We were just taking care of people, giving people good food, building relationships. Mm-hmm. And that's, pretty much from the time I started at Peggy's, it was all built on relationships. It was take care of people, make sure they're happy, give them good food, and they'll come back. And that's been my philosophy forever. I'm convinced that if you give people great food and you take care of their service and you have a relationship, eventually you're going to make money. Mm-hmm. So let's not worry about making money. Let's worry about doing what I say.
Yeah.
And then we'll make money.
Well, that's interesting, because I think a lot of business owners, what happens is they reach a certain level of success and then they get complacent. Right. And they're just thinking, my brand's going to take care of it, my client base is going to be fine, and they don't realize that for lack of a better word, their cheese has possibly been moved a little bit.
Right. Absolutely.
Until it's too late.
And I think that's one of the things that keeps us moving as a company, is that I've always had the drive to make sure we're doing better. you know, you go to some restaurants and they've been the same for years and years and years. You know, you can go there 40 years, they haven't painted the walls or done anything, and they just, and then 677 was beautiful, and then I ripped it apart and made it more beautiful, just so it could change. You know, and we do that in all our locations. Glenn Sanders, we renovated 3 times since we've been open and reinvested all the money that we make. You know, right now we're opening fish, but we're also branding our people. Right. You know, like this whole thing with the new chef, new processes, new ways of doing things. I look at Saratoga like we're going to make an investment in our people in this facility. We're not going to make an investment in, you know, the facility, because the facility is beautiful as it is. But we're going to take whatever it costs to open a new restaurant and spend it on the people.
So if you were to give a business owner advice about branding or building their business, what piece of advice could you give them?
I would stay focused on what you do and try to do it well. Follow your concept or your thoughts. Like, you know, again, our big thing is great food, great service, money will come, you know. I think people have to understand that, and I think that protecting our brand is really important. Like, you know, I'd rather say no and not be able to do it than say yes and not do it right. I think that's really important.
Let's change gears a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, you have over 1,000 employees, and you've got numerous businesses. And I mean, you know so much about what's going on. I mean, how do you stay connected? How do you know everything that's going on like this? I mean, other than working 22 hours a day.
Pretty much. I mean, you got to get to the people. You got to, you know, I always try to show people by example what we do and how we do it. So when we open a new place, I usually spend a lot of time there. And then I try to get back to all the places at least once a week to let people know that we're still involved and, you know, say hello to people and talk to customers. And you know, we meet as a group, you know, for a long time on Wednesday mornings and talk to everyone about what's going on in their area. So I stay pretty connected.
Your people, how do you keep them motivated? I mean, is there anything that you do as the business owner, as the entrepreneur?
I mean, we're really working on employee morale. So, you know, we have a newsletter that we recognize people all the time. People need to be recognized. Yeah. You know, I did a class many, many years ago that I remember the professor saying, you know, and he walked into the closet, into the room, and he had this sign around his neck. And it said, "Make me feel important." And I think that's what I always remember, is you got to make people feel important. You got to say hello to them. You got to make sure they understand what we're doing. Not only our guests, but our employees. And I think, you know, our guests are really, really important, but our employees are more important to me than the guest. Because they're with me every single day. They're like family, you know, and they got to be, you know, to have a happy employee, they're going to make people happy in the dining room or wherever they are. That's my story. Now tell me yours.